The Dyson Sphere. It's the ultimate feat of engineering.
A Dyson Sphere? It's a very old theory, number one. I'm not surprised that you haven't heard of it.
A colossal megastructure built to surround a star and harness its energy output. In theoretical physics, it represents the pinnacle of a civilization's technological achievement, and Dyson Sphere Program lets you take on this monumental challenge, blending the complex systems of factory automation with interstellar exploration as you work towards this final, awe-inspiring goal. But while it's not just about building a few factories, it's about creating a galaxy-spanning empire of efficiency, pushing the boundaries of what's possible in the sim and strategy genre. Can this be your next 1,000-hour game? Join us as we ask and answer that, and of course the simple question, should you make time for Dyson Sphere Program? When I first jumped into the game, I thought I had seen it all, after playing titles like Factorio and Satisfactory for thousands of hours, but Dyson Sphere Program is on a whole different level. At its core, Dyson Sphere Program is a game about building, automating, optimizing, and expanding. You start on a single planet with nothing but a mech and a handful of basic resources, and from there, you begin your journey towards galactic domination, one conveyor belt at a time. As an aside, I love the scale of the game, where it makes you look huge or the planet looks super tiny. You're tasked with gathering materials, building mining rigs, smelting ores, and setting up automated production lines. At first, this might seem familiar for fans of the factory building genre. However, where Dyson Sphere Program sets itself apart is the sheer scale and ambition. Once you've established a stable factory system on your starting planet, you'll quickly find that one world's resources won't be enough to support your growing industrial needs. The game pushes you to reach for the stars, literally. Using interplanetary logistics systems, you'll explore and exploit other planets within your star system, each offering different resources, terrain challenges, and more opportunities for expansion. It's here where Dyson Sphere Program really comes out into its own. With games like Factorio or Satisfactory, the focus is really managing a single world or environment, less so with the new Factorio DLC of course. However, this game takes things to a galactic scale. You're not just building factories on one planet, you're managing an entire star system worth of resources. Your logistics become interplanetary, and soon you're shuttling resources between worlds and using transport drones, warp drives, and space elevators. While sadly there are no trains, these systems easily scratch that itch. The ultimate goal, of course, is to create the Dyson Sphere, a massive structure that surrounds a star and harvests its energy output. But the journey to get there is filled with intricate steps and complex challenges. You'll need to manage power grids, optimize resource flows, and balance your planetary logistics networks to keep everything running smoothly. Does managing an empire that spans galaxies sound like your kind of challenge? Let me know in the comments if you're ready to dive into this massive undertaking. One of the game's most unique features is its procedurally generated universes. Every player's galaxy is unique, offering different star systems, each with its own set of planets, moons, and gas giants. This means no two playthroughs are the same, adding an incredible amount of replayability. I can see why people are sinking hundreds if not thousands of hours into this game. Every time you restart, it's a whole new adventure. There are leaderboards associated with the specific seeds and universes based on your power output from the Dyson Sphere. However, the system is not fully implemented properly and can easily be manipulated. When it comes to scale, the game's automation and logistics is another highlight. As you progress, you'll unlock more advanced technology, allowing you to automate and tweak nearly every aspect of your empire. The satisfaction of watching drones and conveyor belts effortlessly move resources across a planet, then across a star system, is incredibly rewarding. The game offers a deep, satisfying sense of progression, as your humble beginnings evolve into a sprawling intergalactic empire. Energy management is a major gameplay mechanic that really sets this game apart as well. Most factory production sims focus purely on resource production, but in Dyson Sphere Program, energy is the lifeblood of your empire. From the early game wind turbines to the late game Dyson Spheres, you'll constantly be tweaking your power grids to keep everything running smoothly. And that's what makes this game so addictive for those who love optimization. The deeper you go, the more you realize how every piece of your factory affects the whole. I found myself getting lost in tweaking production chains and balancing energy needs to keep the empire running as a well-oiled machine. So from organizing your planetary logistics to perfecting your own production chains, there's a level of micromanagement here that's sure to satisfy fans of the genre. While the initial tutorial is solid, getting deeper into the game however will require very careful planning. It's easy to bite off more than you can chew, and if you don't think ahead, you might end up with bottlenecks or resource shortages that grind the process to a halt. Dyson Sphere Program encourages creative problem solving with every system you master. It opens up new layers of complexity. You'll constantly find yourself balancing expansion, energy management, and resource optimization, each of these tasks being essential to your ultimate goal. All of these elements together create a gameplay experience that's massive as the universe it's set in. That said, the game isn't without its flaws. After the initial rush of setting up your factories and expanding to new planets, the mid-game will feel a bit sluggish. You'll find yourself waiting for resources to trickle in or grinding for efficiency, which can make progress feel slow, especially compared to games like Factorio, where scaling is feeling much smoother. This is especially true when you start needing those higher tier resources for research and construction. Gathering rare materials or setting up interstellar logistics becomes a grind, as production slows to a crawl unless you've meticulously prepared. This can be a turnoff for those who prefer a more fluid and fast-paced progression. Compared to Factorio, which I'll keep bringing up, it manages to keep things more engaging and consistently rewarding as you scale up, but Dyson Sphere Program feels more like its cousin Satisfactory, where it stalls in the mid-game, almost forcing players to just leave their factory running unsupervised. But the good news? YouthCat Studios have been responsive to community feedback, regularly pushing out updates and improvements. The pacing issues are something that could very well be addressed in the near future, so if the mid-game grind isn't for you right now, just keep an eye on future patches. Another pain point that I've noticed is the planetary terrain. Planets come with diverse landscapes which can sound exciting at first, but in practice they often just create annoying building limitations. You'll quickly notice uneven landscapes that can be a bit of a headache, and it can feel tedious to work around cliffs, bodies of water, and other obstacles when placing factories. These mechanics don't break the game by any means, but they can take some of the shine off what otherwise is a truly grand and ambitious experience. It's clear there's room for improvement, particularly when it comes to streamlining the late game logistics and smoothing out the mid-game grind, but the game remains in early access, so there's room for improvement. For a small indie studio and a Kickstarter project, Dyson Sphere Program is a massive achievement. YouthCat Studio have shown an excellent post-launch support with regular updates and patches. However, as with many smaller studios, there's always the concern about long-term support, especially with a game this complex. Can they keep up with the demands of such a large project in the long term? The roadmap outlined by the Kickstarter was promising, with most if not all the goals met. However, it's important for the developers to stay transparent about their timelines, and thus far, there hasn't really been much of an update to that roadmap or timelines. The latest big update, the Dark Fog, was released December 2023. An enemy to hinder your progress, and if you're successful enough, possibly speed it up. Brought along a lot of improvements to the game's system. And while defending against external threats introduces combat elements, these systems, while intriguing, may not appeal to the audience drawn to the DSP. The vehicle system update and more combat improvements are set to release later this year, hopefully tackling these issues. When it comes to actual gameplay, the game scores top marks. There's enough depth and breadth to keep you occupied for a long time and get your money's worth. The graphics, while still in early access, the game's art style is well thought out and consistent, and fits the theme of the game perfectly. Slowly improving, the UI is a bit clunky, but lots of quality of life elements have been inherited from other games to make it functional for what it is. The sound design is amazing. From the little beeps and boops to the soundtrack, paired with the art style, they fully immerse you in this little sci-fi universe. Trains, 0 out of 10. There's no trains, but there are intergalactic transports, so there's that.
Warp engine activated.
Dyson Sphere Program is truly a unique entry in the factory management genre, with a scale and vision setting it apart from familiar games like Factorio and Satisfactory.
Warp engine deactivated.
Despite a few mechanical hiccups such as terrain frustrations and UI clutter, it remains an incredibly ambitious and rewarding experience, especially for those who enjoy long-term satisfaction of building these galactic empires. While the game might not be quite ready to be your next 1,000-hour playthrough just yet, if you've hung up your Factorio or Satisfactory boots and are looking for the next fix, then you should definitely make time for Dyson Sphere Program. Thank you so much for watching. Hope that piqued your interest in this ambitious game. Feel free to check out other videos right now, subscribe for future content, and always make time for games.